Hey, Viola Rules here, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. So, we've exposed that Chief Gant went into the evidence room on the day of the crime, and now he's angry at us for that. So let's continue. Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. His offensive search of my office was in violation of regulations, and I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm the chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Oh, of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. It was to be submitted to the chief. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or, to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. You would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police. Yes, you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. What do you have to say to that? Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman. Well, yeah, exactly. But wait! The Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Nice try. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. But you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Good point, I didn't even think of that. No! Why is that the animation for that? That's an awesome animation, though. Chief Gant, you didn't. The murder was most likely committed on the spur of the moment. No one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why else? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body. However, the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office's parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. Yeah, remember that screwdriver that we thought was unrelated? This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... Yeah. You've been used. I was asked to go, by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it at the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back to the prosecutor's office. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean Yep. The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Wow, Chief Gant's just manipulating everyone. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to carry evidence from a closed case? There's only one possible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order! 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 What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. There's a typo. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. This was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe... Your time's up, huh? My time's up. Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. Oh, you wish you were. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier. Police Chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons. Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor? Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body. Do I have any concrete proof? You know, this is one of the cases where we don't have proof yet. There's no use showing evidence if I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor, at present, I have no conclusive evidence. See, Yuji. In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Don't gamble unless the stakes are high. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Uji, I'll leave the rest to you. Oh, is that why your ID number is all 7s? Well, that was disappointing. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. Lady Luck. Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial, someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth. But we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth Miss Lana Skye. The defendant, Miss Lana Skye. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21. Her task to dispose of the victim's body, in accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well, the court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold on. Huh? Chief Gant? Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claim, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. This isn't good. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then, I've got a lunch date to meet. Okay, thanks for the interruption. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. I like how the judge can't get a word in edgewise half the time. Okay, so we'll continue with this in the next episode and see if we can get Lana to testify. Because I get the feeling that we don't know the whole story. I'm pretty sure Damon Gant is the actual culprit somehow. But we'll figure that out next time. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like. Also be sure to like my Facebook page and follow me on Twitter, as well as support my Patreon, and check out my reaction channel. All those links will be in the description below. And subscribe for more. If you are subscribed or a new subscriber right now, be sure to hit that bell icon so you're notified when I upload videos. This is Viola Rules, signing off. Talk to you later.